Hello.
Hello, who are you?
I'm Gerald.
Hello, Gerald. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
You've come into the Science Shed.
I'm an older gentleman.
Yeah.
I've just come out of the nursing home.
Do you like science, Gerald?
Yeah, I do, but I'm old and I don't know how to use technology.
Okay, well, you don't have to use technology. You sit down.
Okay.
And I'll tell you about our science podcast.
Yes.
It's called The Science Shed.
Yes.
Comes out every 2 weeks.
Yes.
And it has 2 university academics.
Yes.
One of them's me.
Yes.
I'm a chemist.
Yes.
And there's another one called Nick
Yes.
Evans. He's
Yes.
a biologist.
I've forgotten what you were saying at the beginning now.
Okay.
Where am I again?
Science Shed! We're in the Science Shed! Science Shed! We're in the Science Shed! Come on, Steve.
Bunsen,
Burner!
Dolly,
Machine!
internal.
Combustion!
Why do we need
Steam!
Petri,
Dishes!
Oscar,
Base!
Isaac,
Newton!
transplanting?
Science!
Steve, I was looking at
Nick, I'm hungover.
so am I.
So it's the morning after the night before. we went. Oh, the enthusiasm! So we've just cut now from previous what we were talking about yesterday, but we're doing some podcasting in the morning.
Mm.
What you got for me,
Steve, I was in a lecture the other day in Southampton in a chemistry lecture theatre.
Yeah.
And on the wall they had a periodic table. So I
Isn't
thought
it
of you
beautiful?
automatically.
Design classic.
It's nice, right?
Does it make you? It's weird that nearly all periodic tables aren't drawn in the way they should be. You know, with the lanthanides and actinides, they're in the wrong place.
I don't really know what that means.
You know, so the periodic table, if you kind of visualize your mind, there's like a little kind of skinny bit, a long rectangle, and then a big square. Right?
Yeah.
And then underneath it, there's almost 2 little lines.
Yeah, they kind of fit in somewhere in the transition metals bit, and they're kind of blown up out
Exactly.
of it.
So what they should be is the periodic table should be much wider. In the middle, there should be the lanthanides and actinides.
It wouldn't fit on a page then, would it?
Well, it's never on a page anyway. It's always on a bloody wall on a lecture theatre.
It'd be a really long poster.
Yeah. But I just kind of think it's weird to think that every single one is wrong.
That wouldn't have fitted on the wall.
Right.
In
It was
this
a
lecture
small
theatre.
lecture theatre.
Well, it was all right, but it was a space of wall where
Yeah.
it would have hung off the end if it was longer.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, something occurred to me looking at it.
Right.
Do you know how many elements in the periodic table are liquid at room temperature and pressure?
There's 2.
Yeah.
And 3 depending on how hot it is.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's cool, isn't it? Yeah.
So bromine,
No, let me-
mercury.
Yeah, and then gallium is the other one that's pretty
Is it?
close. Gallium melts, I think, at like 33 degrees or something.
But why? Because I thought, well, there's 3 states, right? There's solid, liquid, gases.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, why are there only 2 liquids? Because there's like, how many elements are there? There's a lot, right?
117, something
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
So why?
What?
Why are there only 2 that
Why
are
is there?
liquid?
Because it just so happens that we're the atmospheric pressure and temperature is where it is, and so you're right. Every single element can have pretty much can be in all 3 of those states, but we're just kind of in that regime. When we spoke about boiling, it's that same phenomenon, that phase diagram. If you plot pressure versus temperature, we just so happen to be in a bit. So we just got lucky, really. If you went to a different, if you went to Jupiter, for instance, where the pressure's lower.
Yeah,
A
you
lot
might
more
have
things.
lots more liquid flowing around.
Maybe.
That might be fun though, right? You could have a bath in different types of elements.
You could, yeah.
Could you have a bath in bromine? What would happen if you bathed in bromine?
probably dye your skin? I think. Really.
Mercury wouldn't be very healthy to have a bath in.
I mean, famously, the Pilkington process is how they make glass, and they float that on. Nick's about to sneeze. He's such a consummate professional. Massive
sorry,
sneezing on a
guys.
podcast.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Mercury. Famously, the Pilkington process, right? Making glass is all done on. Used to be done on floating mercury. They don't do it anymore.
What do they do now then? I thought they did.
I'm pretty sure they don't use it anymore. I don't know. If it's all
They
over it.
float it on molten metal, I think. That's how they make glass. They float
So
it,
you
which
can-
is amazing. I still can't believe that.
It's nuts, isn't it? So here's a good example. So in chemistry labs, quite often if you have to have very pure solvents, right? So if you're using, I don't know, hexane or THF or something like that, you need it very pure. So one way to do that is that you kind of boil your solvents, but then also to avoid them, a lot of them are very hygroscopic, so they like to absorb water. So quite often you put what's called NaC, which is a mixture of sodium and potassium. And this is weird, right? So sodium, malleable metal, potassium, metal.
Yeah.
But if you mix them together in the right ratio, it's a liquid. at
Oh,
room
that is
temperature and
cool.
pressure, and it's very hygroscopic. It would like catch on fire in air,
Yeah.
because of all the water.
It's quite reactive, right?
Very reactive. In fact, it always scares me a little bit when because basically you have these things called stills in organic chemistry labs,
Yeah.
and in organic chemistry labs you have this huge vat of of exploding liquid, and then at the bottom of it there's something that's trying to catch fire.
Oh my god.
so it's always quite daunting. I always stay away from the
You've
stills.
got to have the knack, haven't you?
Oh,
For dealing with it.
he's good, isn't he?
Not really.
Sometimes I get so pleased to get to work with you. Nick, I want to tell you something a paper I got published that's a bit off the wall.
Oh yeah, what's that?
So I wanted to talk about it because I'm trying to like push it for my own
You
gain.
probably are though, aren't you?
No,
Steve?
because it's totally. But it's the idea of doing something. I'll tell you the story, and then I'll tell you philosophically I think it's a good idea. So my mate Steve, that I went to school with.
Is there more than one Steve?
There is, yeah. But it sounds like I've got this friend. No, but a friend, a long-time friend. We've been friends since we were at school, and he's a clinical radiographer. So he treats cancer with radiation.
Oh right, okay. So he shines beams of radiation to kill cancer.
Exactly. So he irradiates cells that have cancer and they die, and then people live a little bit longer, and hopefully sometimes they live a very long time.
Right.
He came up with an idea for a master's project, and I kind of helped him a little bit about it, and I wanted to tell you about it.
How
and it
did
ended
you
up
know
being
him?
published. So I went to school with him.
Oh right.
We're best
So
mates.
where's he
I was
work?
the best man at his wedding.
Where's he work?
He works at the Royal Marsden in which is a very
Chelsea?
famous no, not the Chelsea
Fulham?
one, the Sutton campus.
Oh,
which
right,
is-
right.
It's a very famous radiation
hospital, yeah.
exactly. So when you have cancer, he specializes in breast radiotherapy, right?
Yeah.
So if you have breast cancer, what you do is they put you in a CT machine to image your tumor.
Yeah.
And then what they do is they give you a couple of points of tattoo, right? So they take kind of a tattoo ink and they actually tattoo you in like multiple bits.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they use that to kind of triangulate the position of the tumor. So when they take you on one scan that goes in and finds out where the tumor is, they then whack you onto another one, which is actually the thing that irradiates you.
But they don't actually tattoo you. They just draw on you.
No, they actually
just draw
tattoo you.
on
No,
you. Well, why
no.
don't they just draw on you?
No, because basically there's been studies whereby you can't the alignment tools just don't work and it drifts and all that kind of thing. So they don't just draw on you; they physically tattoo you with tattoo ink and a needle.
That's insane.
Yeah, and actually people don't like it because quite often they it's a constant reminder of their treatment and things like this.
Well, this presumably is because you've got to do it weeks apart or something.
Exactly.
And the ink would rub off.
The ink can rub off,
I
and
see.
sometimes it can be you can have a series
Well, why
of.
couldn't you do the tattoo with a fluorescent ink or something?
Well, that's what we did.
Oh my god!
Yeah. So no one. So the
So
idea,
I've just come up with that idea
You came up with the
totally
idea,
randomly, independently.
and we've already beaten you to it. We published the paper. So what you do, yeah. So normally you get these spots of black ink on you, and then they put you on the linear accelerator, which is the machine that treats treats you with radiation, and therefore they can very specifically kill your cancer. So what the idea that Steve came up with is the idea of using a fluorescent ink, tattoo ink, so you can get glow in the dark tattoos now. Right?
Yeah.
So the idea, so if you're in
it's not a new idea. They exist.
They do exist, yeah,
Yeah.
but no one's ever thought of using them in a medical context.
Wow.
So what the idea that Steve came up with, and he did all this work, and I kind of helped him a bit with it with our lab because we measure fluorescence, so I'm quite good at help characterizing these things. Is you take a UV tattoo ink, just a commercial one, and then you can tattoo people in exactly the same way as they would do with black ink, but you're doing it with UV light.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the idea is you use a black light, then you shine the black light on it. So
The UV lamp.
Yeah. So the UV lamp will mean that we can see the spots, and so you can actually treat the cancer. And the
That's
idea
awesome.
is unless you're in a nightclub or something, you don't ever see those spots.
Oh my god!
So
So
anyway,
where's that? You've published it.
Published
Where
it.
is it published then?
I forget the journal. It's like
It's a radiology
British
journal.
Journal of Radiology.
Did you press release that?
Yeah,
That is absolutely ripe for a newspaper article.
the Mail picked it up.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Did it
yeah.
get a proper story?
I can't remember exactly.
That's BBC type.
So yeah, and so
I mean, I'd be
we went
interested
through and
in
we tried
reading
it.
that.
We tried it different types of tattoo ink, and we had to I'll tell you about it. So we wanted to know what the composition was, right? Because we were worried a little bit before we did all of the actual kind of trial.
It's weird tattoos because they're not like they're not approved. There's no kind of clinical approval method.
Exactly.
And no one really knows. And a lot of them have got horrible heavy metals in them.
So these ones don't. So these ultraviolet ones.
What have they got in? What's the fluor for?
Well, it's coumarin. But I'll tell you how I
Coumarin, okay.
did that. So I was trying to find out what they were, and so I rang them up and I said, "What is it?" And they said, we can't tell you. It's
Right.
kind of commercially sensitive." And I said, "Look, I work in the university. I've got 15 NMRs, 25 mass specs down the corridor from me. I know the absorption spectrum, the emission spectrum. I know it's going to be cheap and it's got to be non-toxic. So it's probably coumarin. What is it?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's coumarin." Because So anyway, so now in the Marsden today, you can get this treatment.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Well done, Steve.
So, and well, not me, it's Steve's done all of it. I just helped a little bit.
You were involved. Send me that link, man. I want to have a look at it. Let's tweet that link.
I
want
that
to
link.
see that.
Yeah, you can see. So we did it on a series. I think we did it on 30 people, and then you assessed about their kind of body image before and
Could
after.
I get a tattoo on my forehead, like, that says something?
Twat.
Yeah, I hate you.
Do you know what does?
And like, I could
Do you know what it doesn't work? Here's the thing that the male would love, actually, or any of the. So it doesn't work on sub-Saharan African skin tones.
Because the UV is absorbed by the melanin.
Yeah, and it's very hard to get high contrast. So basically, we've made a racist bio.
Well, that means the male would like it.
Exactly. That's maybe why it was.
But you could probably do a far red one as well.
You could do one.
You could do one with infrared light.
You could.
And then that wouldn't be.
But then it's a bit
absorbed by
harder
melanin.
because then you have to have some way of seeing the infrared light. So you'd have to have a camera or something like that. You'd have to have night vision in the lab.
Yeah, but there's
Night
plenty
vision.
of detectors you could easily
Sure,
use.
but this
for
is
it.
very easy because you can just look at it with your
Yeah,
eyes.
that's true. Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
tattoos.
fantastic.
What's annoying Nick?
Steve.
Nick, I'm just going to
Um,
move my microphone.
I want to know
sorry,
your-
listeners. You might hear a bit of a clang.
it's too close to you. Oh,
There
what are
we
you
go.
doing?
All right.
I want your opinion on something.
He's annoyed. Nick's annoyed. This is what's annoying Nick.
I'm mildly irritated, but I'm willing to be convinced.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's annoying me.
That was an original bit, though. That was an original segment we had, and you haven't been annoyed by much recently.
I know.
We need to find more anger inside
something
you.
mildly annoyed me, but
Right.
I'm not totally convinced, and I feel bad for being annoyed by it.
Okay.
I'm annoyed by March for Science.
Oh, I've seen
In
March for
England.
Science. Yes.
So
It's on like the 22nd or something.
22nd of April. So this is a thing that quite reasonably has started in the US because the new administration in America, President Fart, he has brought in a series
Listening
of
to the
measures.
Science Shed, I'm sure.
He's a regular listener.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's brought in a series. He's cut federal funding for
A huge
sciences
amount,
and the
right?
arts.
It's like
NIH.
$5 billion.
I think the NIH has lost 17% of its
and
funding.
the
NIH is the National Institutes for Health. That's a body that funds
Biomedical
medical
research, yeah.
in the US.
and also the climate.
National parks. A lot of them have lost a load of money.
The thing that investigates climate change in the US has lost something like 50% of its entire budget.
Well, it's a bit of a dodgy area, though, climate science, isn't it? It's like, does it exist? Does it not exist?
maybe.
What's the scientific consensus? I think
But,
that's pretty sketchy to me.
Yeah.
No, of course it's a well-established scientific theory.
Well, the climate is changing, but whether that is man-made is the
the
debate.
evidence suggests it probably. Anyway,
You with your
that's not the
evidence.
point of what I'm saying.
Right, March
but
for
anyway,
Science.
So March for Science has been organised in response to that in America. So they're all marching on Washington
Right,
to sort of illustrate that science is important.
and that everyone's really kind of
I'm
passionate.
totally for that. I agree with it. It's good. There's some funny stuff on their website that I'll come to in a minute. But I think that's a noble aim, and I think marching
I'm not seeing
to illustrate
anything.
your
You're not
piss-
annoyed yet.
Well, they're marching because they're pissed off.
Right.
They're annoyed. Right. So, but what's happening is there's a March for Science in the UK.
Well, aren't we showing solidarity with our American brethren?
That's what they kind of say, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it's about. And they don't say that's what it's about on their thing. If you look at their website thing,
Right.
they're celebrating science and illustrating that science is good and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Fine, yeah. You don't need to do a march to do that and close a load of roads in
So-
London.
so
I mean, I get
it's-
anthat there's a march. If
So
there's
it's
a march,
it's
that I
the
agree with-
walking that annoys you.
it's just the whole, pretentious waffle
Right.
about, fair enough there's a march in the US. We should support it. I agree with it. But marching through London, closing a bunch of streets on the 22nd of April, it's not long after the marathon happens.
People want to express themselves, Nick, and
They
that's
can
an
express
opportunity
themselves.
to do that.
It's Science Week, Sense and Engineering Week at the moment. And a lot of people I work with, they're doing stuff, to do science, public engagement stuff. That's a good idea. The Science Lates, I know you're involved in some of those coming up as well. That's a good thing because you can actually show people. But a march is a protest.
Yeah.
When do people march to celebrate things?
That's a good question.
Can you think?
Is there a positive march? I think.
Anyway, it's been mildly annoying me, Steve. I tell you what. So that's the British March for Science. I apologise if there's people out there doing it. I'm not going to do it.
You won't be marching.
I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not. I'm not interested in it. I'll be supporting my American people in spirit and retweeting things and posting it and saying this is terrible. I'm not American. I just want to support them. I don't think marching through London is necessarily the way.
Oh, so actually,
another
what you're annoyed at
country's political situation.
But you're annoyed that they're not going to affect change. Is that what's annoying you?
No, they're just. I don't know what they're doing it for. The other thing is, I don't know whether it'll happen.
Do you feel like they're not busy enough? Is that what it is? It's just like you need to hobby that if you've got enough spare time to come here and just have a little wander around the South Bank.
Honest, I think I'm getting unnecessarily irritated. You've got to raise money to do it, so they're raising money at the moment. So if you want, you can just Google March for Science London. I'm supporting them here, aren't I? That's the flip side. But they've got a fundraising page, so they've got about $3,000. They need $8,000 to do the march because you've got to tell the police and all the rest of that sort of stuff. So it might not even happen in an official way.
Right.
Anyway,
there might just be a few people just walking around London on the 22nd of March. Or
yeah. Anyway, I've subscribed to this thing called March for Science on Facebook, which is the American one. Which amuses me from time to time because there's so many there's lots overblown, of earnest people posting.
Exactly. So I'm doing this for my father, who was a gastroenterologist in the 50s. Oh, good.
So on March for Science, it's a Facebook page, but people post up why they're doing it or why it's important, why they think science is important. And there's no kind of humour or irony there or anything like that. It was direct quote. I mean, here's one. This is from Mary Carter Scott. My 11-year-old just told me she wants to be a scientist when she grows up to research the effects of nuclear radiation. Feeling so proud. I like this one as well. As an elementary teacher, I'm needed in the classroom to help explain models, new concepts to students. You bet science and environment are on the agenda. Every, full stop, single, full stop, day, full stop, period, I should say. That sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so this one amused me as well. I've got one more. Can I just do one more?
Yeah, do
it. I walk past the same red-breasted merganser every morning. It's a type of bird, by the way. It's a water bird. His name is Crackers Desmond Orwell. I don't know how to...
Wait. I gave him the middle name.
Crackers Desmond Orwell. I don't know how to tell him that we planned to cut more than 30% of his funding today at the EPA. That's Laurie Bowen. But the comments are quite funny underneath as well. So they range from the quite supportive to kind of maybe mildly derisional, but I can never tell. So one person said, I call this a punk-ass merganser. I love them mohawk. His last name is Prescient. Orwell.
What?
The merganser's called Orwell. His last name is Prescient. Orwell. Dystopian future, Steve. Get with it.
I'm with
Orwell.
Yeah, but wait, it's Crackers Desmond
Orwell. His last name is Prescient.
Oh, right, with you now.
Seeing in the future,
I
Steve.
Get it. And
then someone's just come up with it. My favourite comment was, I like your duck picture.
That's good.
Anyway, March for Science, man. You can check it out. It's quite a sort of window into the world of US science.
Yeah, I
feel sorry for those guys.
I think it's important, and it's going to be.
I'm mocking you, but
tough.
I don't mean it. I'm only doing it in a nice way.
Yeah, we really support them. Really.
Yeah, definitely.
The Science Shed is a 100%.
We're behind them. Yeah, officially.
That's our official
March
stance.
For Science US.
Yeah. Okay. Woo. So Nick.
Yeah.
Last night, when we were recording the previous bit of the podcast, you asked me to come up with a long bet.
Oh yeah, so we're talking about long bets and people who'd bet on things like the Large Hadron Collider would blow up planet Earth.
Have you seen there's a website, if you go to it, it's called like www. www dot has the LHC destroyed the universe yet? And if you go to it, it's just one page that says no.
Seriously, I'm just going to
yeah.
look that up, man. Here it is. It has a load of clicks on the side of the world. Here we go. So I click it, but I'm clicking them. Nope. Just a black page with nope on it.
Yeah. So carry
funny,
on.
Aren't they? Sorry, was I?
So you were, you were setting the scene for the bet.
Oh yeah. So there's lots of these long bets, and Steve and I were talking yesterday because yesterday I'd come up to Cambridge. We went out for a meal last night, and we drank a lot of port last night, and now I'm feeling rotten this morning. So I suggested to Steve that he try and challenge me to a bet, or come up with an idea at least, which is challengeable.
Right. Yeah. So I was thinking about it for about 45 seconds this morning.
Yeah.
Doing my homework.
Yeah.
And what I was kind of interested in, I think a bet that obviously these things will occur, but it's about the time scale that they occur on. So I'm interested, I guess, in the interplay between technology and kind of biology. Right?
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, just like 10 years ago, we didn't have smartphones and all this kind of thing. And I think the way we kind of interact with technology is going to get more and more aligned to biology, right? So we're going to get Google specs and augmented reality and all these kind of things are the first step towards becoming bionic, I suppose, on some level. So there's a couple of things associated with that, right? Which I would like to make a bet on.
Yeah. Okay.
So one of them is robotics, right? So how long do you reckon before a robot can beat the England football team at football?
That won't happen in our lifetime.
You don't think?
No.
I think it will.
No, it won't.
Look at the kind of Boston Dynamics and those really cool companies that are making those robots now.
It's not a field that I've been following too closely, but I mean, there's a whole range of.
But 10 years ago, we didn't have the iPhone.
So the robots would have to run really fast.
Yeah.
So would there be any limits to? I mean, could
just
you have a?
Can the robots?
So could you have a robot that is like, I don't know how big a goal is, but like 8 feet by 6 feet.
So
it's sort of a block.
Yeah,
it's just a rectangle which
mean,
obscures the goal. Because that would make the team difficult to beat, wouldn't it? You wouldn't have to have any of the players.
So they're bipedal, right? I mean, you know what I mean.
So they're like
they're
humanoid.
Android,
so they're humanoid, yeah. So they're running around kicking.
So in Star
they
Trek,
have to kick
Data, they have to look like Data from Star Trek. And so if you had a team of Datas on Star Trek, that was in 23 something, the Star Trek Next Generation. Data could definitely beat a team of Datas could definitely beat the England football team.
Possibly, but is the thing about with chess, right? It took a long time before a computer was built that can defeat a grandmaster. It was really recently, wasn't it?
1996, Deep Blue beat.
It was later than that, though, wasn't it? I thought Kasparov won in the 90s.
No, Deep Blue won.
Oh, right, okay.
And then Go, AlphaGo, which is the Google service, has won that. So
it took a long time, though, right?
Well, it didn't, right? I mean, you think we've been playing.
And also computers. Well, I suppose this is true for your idea as well. A computer, the Deep Blue was just a massive supercomputer, just for playing chess.
Yeah,
but that's what it took.
But now, unequivocally, your phone could beat the world's best chess player that's ever lived. Right?
No, it couldn't.
Absolutely can. Maybe not your phone. You got a shit phone. If you got
I've got Samsung. No,
okay. Oh, that's good. No, if you absolutely no question would win. Your phone, the computing power of your phone would
beat Kasparov.
Easy.
Oh, well, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Right. Definitely wouldn't. The interesting thing about why Go won, the AlphaGo, this kind of ancient Chinese board game, is that there's more combinations of the game. So it's got a 13 by 13 grid on Go. Obviously, chess is just 8 by 8. Mm-hmm. And if you compute the number of possible Go games, there's more possible games that could be played in Go than there are atoms in the universe.
All right, so it's like 10 to the 80 or something. I think
it's more than that. It's like 10 to the 200 or something. I think it's the number of games possible in a game of Go.
Yeah, it's a lot more.
But what that means is there's no possible way of ever being able to compute all of them.
No,
right?
Because you couldn't do it iteratively.
Because you would have to build a computer, and therefore you'd use up all the atoms in the universe.
In the universe. Yeah.
So it has to be done through algorithms. So you basically have to train a artificial intelligence or something to kind of think about a problem, right?
Yeah.
To actually say,
Pass it down.
Exactly.
Limit the
It's not just a case of saying what are every single possibility, and what and then have some metric to say is that of all the possibilities, what's the best next move? It doesn't do that. So it actually has to have these algorithms. So I would bet you that we will have robots
They can play football.
That can play football
Better than England. That wouldn't take much, though, would it?
That's true. I think 2040. I'll make you a bet.
2040. How much do you want to put on it?
Well, it has to be something obscure, as we've had the.
It's like a tenner or something.
No, I don't want money. It's got to be like a creative Playboy or whatever. Like,
right. Do you want a creative Playboy?
No, I don't really like that. Do you reckon there'll still be Playboy in 2040? Maybe not.
Know. There's not really much call for it now, innit? They stopped doing nude stuff, didn't they, a while ago?
Did they really?
They've gone back again there.
Okay.
They're doing it again.
Playboy didn't have
No, it's more
nudes.
like a life, trying to make themselves a lifestyle
Like a
sort of
GQ
magazine,
or whatever.
that sort of thing. Yeah, so they got rid of the nipples
Huh,
for a
interesting.
while. They've stopped it now.
Nipples are
Obviously
back.
It wasn't that
Bring the nipple
successful.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I reckon 2040, and I'm going to bet you. I will bet you the loser of this bet has to build a Harrison clock for the other one.
What? That's excuse me. That's ridiculous. I
Why?
wouldn't know where to start. I don't know how to build a Harrison clock.
Yeah, but you could work it out.
Oh,
Harrison
for
did
God's sake, I can't be bothered doing that. You've got to be joking. Let me buy you the Playboy. My kind of bet was quite boring in comparison. We were talking about the pigs growing human organs in pigs and things like that.
Frankenpig.
Yeah, so I reckon regenerative medicine, and people have always been saying, we're going to grow new organs in the lab and all the rest of it.
And you just don't believe it. So
I
you work.
think it's
You
difficult.
work in the field.
No, I
You
do
stand
believe-
up and ask for grants and excite people about it, and you don't believe it. So-
I do believe it,
All
but
right.
I think it's more difficult than a lot of people say it is.
Right.
It's a hugely challenging thing,
Yeah.
but I think it'll get done.
Yeah.
And I was going to place a bet with you, or
Yeah.
challenge you to a bet, and say that I think that in 30 years we'll have artificial livers, implanted organic artificial livers.
You think we will?
Yeah.
I think so too.
Oh, well, that's a shit bet then, isn't it? Not going to work that one. Whoa! Steve just wrecked the mic. Watch him wreck the mic. Psych.
Psych.
Science Shed! We're in the Science Shed! Science Shed! We're in the Science Shed! Come on, Steve!
Bunsen,
Burner!
Dolly,
Machine!
internal.
Combustion!
What do we need?
Steam!
Petri,
Dishes!
Oscar,
Base!
Isaac,
Newton!
transplanting.
Oh,
Nick, I
dear.
just dropped the mic.
Oh, no. Well, that's how you end things usually,
That's it.
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
not in a kind of cool Obama way, as in I just literally just knocked over the microphone.
Like a big, clumsy, hairy monkey.
Thanks very much. And I think that's an elegant way to finish the podcast.
Yeah.
with me dropping the mic.
I think we've come
It's
to the
time-
end,
it's
really.
come to the
Come
end.
to the end. Time to
Skip
put
to
it
the
to
end.
bed.
It really
Put
is.
it to bed.
So I hope you enjoyed the Science Shed this week. If you do, try and get in touch with us on social media. I am Steve the Chemist.
And I'm at the Evans Lab.
If you please share the shots to the Science Shed, and we'll be back next week.
Spit it out, Steve.
Oh,
Spit it
yes.
out.
I'm sorry.
Share it.
Share it.
Enjoy. Whatever. Get on it. Enjoy. Bye.
Love you. Bye.